One. Hello, Tyler.
Hey, it's a Tuesday again, so we get to talk again. We
I
only talk
know,
once a week, so
Tuesdays with Tyler. Yeah, the only time we talk all week.
yes. What's
Today
up?
we're talking about something that I think is super fascinating. We're talking about generosity in business, and it's something that kind of came up organically in a conversation that we had earlier this week, and how important it is to give back and to not be stingy in business. And I think a lot of people have different opinions and ideas of really what a good leader is, whether that's being generous or not. But what do you think when people think about a genuine, or not a genuine, a successful leader? What do you think they think of?
Yeah. It's a good question. I said I don't usually say
You don't.
Anyway, yeah. It's interesting because it's hard to answer because everybody looks at it differently. To some people, success looks different than other people. And so I would just say for me, I've really valued transparency in leadership a lot. I've really valued like understanding where we're going and why we're going there. And so, obviously there's like the vision piece of that. And then I've really valued leaders that have helped me get to wherever we're going. And so it's not that they're doing my job for me. It's not that they're dictating. It's not that they're micromanaging. It's none of those things, but it's more so that they're probably have more of like a collaborative type of a mentorship / leadership style. And they're helping me, like collaborating with me to help me get towards whatever the results are that we're trying to accomplish from a business objective, company objective thing. So I've really valued that piece to it. And then I think just honestly, this probably sounds weird, but sharing life together in some ways, like not just all transactional business talk and speak, but like, hey, do you exist outside of your 8 to 5, 9 to 5, whatever job time frame? And just knowing people, knowing you're going to spend a lot of time with them, probably if that's your full-time gig, and probably spend more time doing that than most things. And so just like understanding they're human and genuine, all that kind of stuff outside of it. So those are kind of like the three things that I look for in a leader that I've found encouraging in the past and helped me achieve things in the past. So
I love that. It's really good feedback. What would you say your approach to leading Lone Fir is, as well as being a leader in our industry?
I think it's probably all three of those things, at least what I try to do. Whether or not I'm succeeding or not, I don't know. But I think a lot of it, honestly, for our business has been transparency. And I know I said that already, but as far as kind of examples go, I think in the past when I've had jobs that haven't been transparent, I haven't lasted very long because I don't really get what we're doing. Oftentimes, sure, I know my projects and my punch list of tasks and whatever, but like I don't really buy into like the longer term vision of what's going on, and then I don't know how we're tracking towards that vision oftentimes. And so like I remember earlier on in my career, like getting this like project, like I remember asking specifically, hey, what are we doing with this? Why am I working on this? And I was kind of treated like I was like an insubordinate, and I was like rebellious and all these things. And I was literally just trying to figure out how what I was working on for like the next 3 to 6 months was going to impact what our goal was as a company, because I didn't quite get it. And so I think for me, like that really logged away in my brain of like, I don't want to do that when I run a company or when I am a leader on a team or whatever. And so we try really hard at Lone Fir to be very transparent, and we're as transparent as we can be with numbers and margins and all those types of things, because I think that matters to people and they want to know. And then we're super transparent of like vision. This is where we're going. Here's the goals and objectives to get there. And we try really hard to kind of measure progress and communicate that, like how people are progressing towards things. And then this is like really basic, but kindness. I think there's just like that classic, do to other people as you'd want to have done to yourself kind of rule, and so that kindness piece can come in a lot of ways. One is just understanding, caring, making sure people feel known and heard. And then the other piece of kindness is, I would say, and I mentioned this actually in an AM meeting earlier today, and we were talking about process and talking about maybe things that might be gaps in onboarding new employees. And I just kind of like reminded people of, hey, let's kind of brainstorm this, because reality is we want new employees coming on our team to be able to like get onboarded and feel successful and
Mhm.
feel like they're getting traction faster than you did or faster than I did and so really helping people get further along faster than what we could. And so I think I've really tried to take that in our culture to where, man, I might have fallen on my face 50 times to get to whatever I was trying to do. But if the next person that comes along might only have to fall on their face 5 times, what can I do to help with that? So, yeah, I don't know if that is helpful. I feel like I'm a little bit rambly on that one, but that's kind of how I've tried to organize the company or some of the values, I guess, that I've had. So,
Yeah, I totally agree. It reminds me actually of that saying. I think it's something like you get more with an open hand than you do with a closed fist.
yeah, it's true.
Being generous and being willing to help and lend a hand.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to dive into a little bit more, though, is even in our industry, when we look at other agencies, whether they're a story brand agency or guide, or if they're a HubSpot partner,
Yeah.
um, how do you handle your relationships with agencies that maybe are even in a similar space or somewhat considered competitors of ours?
Yeah. Um, yeah, it's a good question. I think I've probably taken a little bit of a page out of like just essentially my history, which has been there's been people along the path with me that have like essentially quote unquote invested in me, from a knowledge or skills or mentorship or coaching or whatever. And some of it's been in an official capacity, and some of it's just I might call them and ask or grabbing a beer or something like that, and I'll ask a question
Hmm.
or whatever, and they'll help. And so I think I've tried to kind of go, man, if that's how I got to where I'm at, how can I help others along the way in the same kind of format? And so there's been things that I've done that are like formalized to where like an agency mastermind where I'm helping kind of coach different agencies to get, move further
Hmm.
faster. And then there's some where it's just like you're getting on a phone call with someone and answering questions about, hey, who's the first person you hired and how'd you do it? Or how did you figure out your services or your pricing, or just like being really transparent with people when they ask, and then also just kind of carrying yourself with that mentality that people can ask you, like you're approachable,
Hmm.
has been a big thing I think for me. It's kind of weird because sometimes I feel uncomfortable sharing like success in a certain area sometimes. And so people might not necessarily know that they could ask, because they might not know that I've achieved that. But I
Hmm.
think as we continue to grow, people are starting to see some of it. And so then they'll reach out and ask different questions, and just sharing that kind of thing, knowing there's enough business to go around, knowing that if you are competing against something, great. Hopefully the
Yeah.
best person wins. And like it's just it's kind of one of those like that's just kind of how it goes. Um but we just try not to. I'm super competitive by nature, but I don't necessarily try to drag that into wanting to crush the other person kind of thing.
Hmm.
And it's more so my competition is generally for like me against me. How do I make myself better? How do I improve on this? And those types of things. So I try to kind of carry that through towards helping other people and kind of serving the industry or community that we're in. So
Absolutely. I love that, and I see that too. But like it feels good to give. It feels
yeah,
good to be generous. For the most part, it does.
totally.
But you still have to run a business and pay people salaries and pay bills. So how do you
True.
balance that? How do you balance that generous spirit with also making sure that you're making money and being productive?
Yeah, it's a great question. It probably honestly is a case by case basis for me. I don't necessarily know if I have this like playbook that I run of like, well, if I give this, I hope to receive that. I would just say over the last number of years, the more open I am with people, the more those people are willing to share with me. And so sometimes they're just willing to connect me with someone or invite me to a meeting or invite me to a cocktail hour or whatever. I don't even think they call those that anymore, but invite me to get dinner with someone if I'm in the same city, or like those types of things. And I'll meet somebody through that, and then that thing might turn into a client at some point. Or so I don't think that really steers me away from that. But you also do have to protect, like I kind of look at our business a little bit like a family, and I got to protect my family. And so it does
Mhm.
mean that there are some seasons where I don't take very many outside meetings because I'm focused on making sure sales close or employees are onboarded or we're solving whatever problems in front of us. And so those generally take priority. So I'm a pretty organized, disciplined individual. And so I kind of only have certain blocks on my calendar that I really give up easily to people, and then I protect the rest of it and kind of defend it pretty well. So I don't know. It's kind of a balancing act, case by case scenario, but try to kind of maintain that same openness with people, but also keeping in mind that, man, we got to pay our bills too. And so you got to focus during certain seasons. So I don't know if that really
Yeah,
provides much of an answer, but
it does. And it actually reminds me of something I think we talked about, maybe it was earlier today or yesterday, but like you're also a little more, you don't get freaked out about taking risks. You
true.
know, of course they are a concern, but you've seen, you know, you've seen risks work out really well.
Yeah.
So not being stingy.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about why why it's good to be generous, what it really means. But when it comes to like the actual seeing the fruits of it or the benefits from it, what are some of the benefits you've seen in your employees and your clients or even from other agencies?
Yeah. Okay. So one of the things that's been super, what's the word? Maybe fulfilling, I suppose, for me has been watching our own team do it. And so, these are the things that you don't really think about a ton, but then you see them kind of trickle down and it's just cool to watch. But one of the things on our team is we're pretty open as far as if there's a challenge or problem or client issue or whatever the thing might be, somebody's going to like throw it in Slack or they're going to kind of raise their hand saying they need some help, which is amazing that they'd even ask for help because some people aren't good at that. But it's super cool to watch other people on the team like kind of just come out of the woodwork and, oh yeah, I've had this issue with a client in the past when I worked at a different company or whatever. And they'll kind of drop what they're doing and pitch in and help out. And so they've kind of tried to carry that out because they've seen it modeled, I guess. And I'm having to overthink this because I don't really think about this kind of stuff very often. But I think so but that's just been really fun to watch, like as that's happening, because I hear different stories of it in different, departments and such. And that's just been really cool to see kind of come to fruition. And then I think I kind of alluded to it a little earlier, but as far as just, fruits from it, if you will, it's super cool to, serve somebody else or provide value to somebody else. And then it might come back around like a year later where they introduce you to something. And I know, Amanda, since you've been in the sales seat for quite a while with us now, there's some leads that you reach out or, and throw at me and go, hey, do you know this person? And I'm like, I don't think so. We've never done business with them. And then I'll research a little bit and go, oh yeah, I got on a call with them like a year and a half ago and talked about whatever. And now they're recommending another company work with us or something. And so again, that's not the reason. It's not the reason I do it, but it's also like, it's an interesting kind of a quote unquote benefit from being, value first and serving and generous of your time and the things that you've learned and stuff. So those are kind of two practical things, I guess, that I can think of right now.
Yeah. And one thing I remember a while back when we were like honing in on what we wanted our mission statement to be, we had 3 different options.
Yeah.
And it was so awesome to see our team and just slack fire back and forth at each other on what it should be. Yeah. But we landed on do what's right for our people and our clients always. And that mission statement, like that trumped any other thing because it really is who we are and what we do. And we can't say it any better than that. Like that's really as a leadership team, that's what we try to do. But then also just as an organization, we always put our clients first. And I think that speaks really accurately to who we are as a team.
Totally. And it's also cool because I think one of the things that's like, it's like the letter of the law versus the spirit of the law kind of thing. And it's not saying that we're going to bend over backwards, do whatever the client says, whenever the client says to do it, but it's more so making the right decisions for our people internally and our clients, and having that be a kind of filter that we look through when we make decisions. But I think it was really cool to watch kind of as we quote unquote voted for our mission statement between the few. It was like hands down. Yeah, we love helping people and we want to do what's right for those people all the time. And that's just kind of like been our due north for a while now. And I think it's just been a fun, quick way of getting everyone on the same page kind of in that short sentence. So
absolutely. Awesome. Yeah. Thank you for chatting today. I've really loved talking about being generous.
Absolutely. Thanks for chatting with me again. And I'm encouraged that lots of people are finding value of what we're talking about. I think it's hilarious, but it's fun to be able to provide that or just talk about different things that we've tried or fallen on our faces in the past. So
absolutely. And I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Sounds good. See ya.
Bye.